What's up, everybody? You know how we get down over here on this channel. We talk about the new methods. We talk about the new scams. We talk about the new bank scams method. We talk about a lot of things that's going on in today's world. And there's a lot of people out there that's trying to figure out what's going on. How are so many people starting to make so much money? What is this tech world that everybody's getting in? How is so many people doing these methods and becoming multi-millionaires by getting this information? And there's a lot of people that's heard about the dark world, the dark web, scams, fraud, methods, lows, glitches for the past 6, 7 years, and now they're trying. And it's a whole different generation now. It's a whole the gears have shifted in life. A lot of people are broke. A lot of people are back broken. A lot of people are trying to figure out how to make money, and they're trying to figure out how they can make it quick, fast, and in a hurry. So it's a lot of people out there that's trying to figure out, and they need cash now. And the only way that they know how to get cash now, today, or that they have a perception that they can, is with scams, frauds, glitches, loads, etc., etc. Now, there's a lot of people that's entering this world that's making a lot of money for sure. New people, kids, you name it. And there's a lot of people that's entering this world that's getting a lot of jail time because at the end of the day, the things that they're trying to do, they're not supposed to be doing, right? So we talk about a lot of different things. We talk about a lot of different methods. We talk about a lot of different sites on the dark web, the dark world, new sites, fraud GPT. We talk about a lot of different things. And a lot of people are trying to figure out how to do a method. A lot of people want to make a quick dollar. It doesn't matter if it's $500, $1,000, 10,000, 20,000. It doesn't matter. The more the better. And people will go and will sit up all day and look for the next method, look for sites, et cetera, that could potentially help them do that. So, due to the evolution, due to the world evolving, the dark web as well as the normal internet has evolved. Just think about it. From the time that you first start getting on the internet and start realizing and start to understand, look at the shift. When YouTube first came out, when all these different applications came out, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, all these different applications, they always update. They always get a new thumbnail, a new icon. The website started to look more urban. Like people don't understand these things now, right? So let's really start from the beginning because a lot of people don't understand. So when it comes to methods, methods are basically ways for people. Well, everything is a method. If a method is basically creating a passageway or a PDF or instructions on how to do something. So it might be a method on how to start jumping higher. It might be a method on how to open up a bank account. It's a lot of different methods out here. But methods are basically ways how to generate money. So it might be a method how to go in the bank and do this and do that, right? So 13 years ago, there was no Cash App, Venmo, Zelles, PayPal, none of these Apple Pays, none of these new technology based products that were positioned and placed in our lives in our world to be able to send, receive, and store money. The only way we could use to send money, receive money was either bank transfers, which was the first form of digital transfer, and MoneyGram, Western Union, and Walmart to Walmart were the only ways you could send and receive money, or and people used to send money through the mail. Now, the world is always going to in the world is always going to be people creating things to make things easier for people. And as the world goes on, technology, new sites, new things will appear. Now, the thing is, people don't understand how important technology is. People don't understand that in the real fraud and dark world and dark web methods, whatever, the real money that's being generated comes from the technology world. Not checks, not credit cards, none of that. It's all technology based because this is a new generation. The world is ran off technology. Without technology, we wouldn't be where we are right now. Technology allows us to be able to basically use iPhones, video FaceTime people, send text messages, Wi-Fi. Cars you don't need keys to start cars anymore. Push to start. You got cars that got Wi-Fi on them now. Cars have tracking devices on them because of the navigation. The system knows exactly where you are. People don't understand what technology is really doing and what technology is really helping people do in today's world. A lot of people don't wake up. A lot of people are stuck in a box and they're not really paying attention to what's going on in the world. So, as since the world has evolved, you got Chat GPT, you got so many artificial intelligence sites and products that's now cutting out the hard work for people in the world. You no longer have to be an artist to be able to create pictures. You no longer have to do so many different things. You just go to Chat GPT and hey, I ask a question. Tell Chat GPT to create this photo. Tell Chat GPT to create this script. Tell Chat GPT, right? And at the end of the day, Chat GPT is an artificial intelligence, it's technology. And at the end of the day, every website is coded and programmed. And every website has a code source. It is not hard to get a website's code source. So, what people have done is because, first of all, jailbreaking has been around for a very long time, for the past 20 years. People have been jailbreaking phones for a long time. Now, think about it. When you jailbreak a phone, a cell phone is a device. And in that device, we all know, in all cell phones, there is a green board with different mods and components on it. And on that board is a software because we all of our phones go through software updates to improve it to fix bugs and glitches because anything that's technology based will have a glitch, will have a bug in it. There's always going to be some type of malfunction. There's always going to be some type of vulnerability in these systems and in these databases. And this what regular people don't understand this or know this or even think about this type of things. So there's these systems like are always vulnerable and there's always a new update to strengthen the strength of your phone, right? So boom, you got you have people who have utilized technology and created ways to send, receive, and store money on applications. You got Venmo, Cash App, Zelle, PayPal, Chime, Apple Pay, Google Pay. You got all these different platforms out here now that's allowing people to send and receive money and store money on a platform. Now, how is this possible? This didn't just pop out the thin air and say, hey, now you got these applications where you can just send and receive. No, man created these applications. Man made it possible on these applications for you to send money, receive money, and store money. So man is the one who's controlling the capability to be able to do these things because they created it. We created it. Man, you man, right? So understanding that these people are the ones who created the passage to send, receive, and store money on Cash App, Venmo, all these money transferring applications. So think about it. If somebody created that, that means they control it, and that means that they know about servers, they know about databases and systems and blockchains, et cetera, that allows you to be able to do these things, right? So due to it being Chat GPT, there are now fraud GPT sites. And what people basically have done is they've copied the source, the code source for these Chat GPT sites or these GPT sites, there's different GPT sites. And what they have done is they're taking it and they're broken the Chat GPT sites. And when they break them, they enter their own source codes and they basically transform it into a whole new platform and application that allows you to do different things that other people wouldn't be able to do. So, for example, when somebody goes on to a fraud GPT site, they might type in, "Oh, I need information on this, information on that," and the information that they're asking normal people or people would normally have to go on different sites to get this information and pay for it. But now these fraud GPT sites, just like in the real world where Chat GPT sites are now taking over real life jobs for people, these fraud GPT sites are taking over real life jobs for the scammers and the fraudsters because they no longer have to go to this site or that site. They can go to a good fraud GPT site and get all the information that they want for free. Because at the end of the day, when people steal credit cards, debit card information, personal information, all of this information is stored in a database. And you got to understand, databases is like in one big globe. Like it's one thing. Like every database, you can get into any database out here. It's just one big matrix that's out there. And this is what people are not understanding. So since this information is stored in this one big matrix that anybody can get in, you can easily, and it's all systems and databases. Remember, y'all got to remember this. Since people can easily get into these things, these new codes are now allowing these chat GPT sites to get this information. So people are getting free CCs, CVVs, dumps, fools, pins, pros, you name it. No longer have to now. Every fraud GPT site is not capable of doing those things. Just because somebody gets the source code for ChatGPT and they create a fraud GPT site doesn't mean they know other source codes to add to those source codes, to add those portals or those options for people to be able to do that. So that's another thing. Every fraud GPT site is just not this fantastic or powerful engine that can do everything. No, and people have to understand that too. That's why a lot of people do their research and they find certain ones that can basically do those things. And a lot of people, it's a lot of fraud GPT sites out there, right? So it's a site on the dark web that is utilizing this information and performing glitches, loads, etc., for people. Now, people got to understand the matrix is real. The, like it's hard to explain. I want people to understand. It's a site on the dark web, and like I told you guys before, dark websites are not www.blah.blah.blah.com. They are encrypted addresses with .onion at the end, and you can't post these websites on the ClearNet. They're forbidden. They're blocked. So it makes it hard for people to be able to promote dark web sites and things like that on the ClearNet to promote whatever, right? So there's a new site on the dark web called the Alpha. Hold on, y'all. Yeah, so it's a site on the dark web, on the new site on the dark web called the Dark World, Dark Web, whatever you want to call it, called the Alpha Glitch Network. The Alpha Glitch Network, basically. Now, before we get into anything, now let me really explain to you guys how this is even being performed and how this is being done. How Cash App to Cash Apps, how Venmos and Zelles and Chimes and PayPal's, all this being processed. How are people sending money from these different platforms? And I wrote down so we could really get to it. So API routing, database mutations, and different things like that are what's going on, right? So initiation and tokenization. This is a lot of people don't know. This is the first step when it comes to sending money from Cash App to Cash App to whatever third perk, whatever, right? So the sender, as a sender types of amount and selects a receipt using the cash tag, phone number, or email, the client app securely transmits an encrypted payload containing the transaction details to the back end API. So all of these things, all this information is configured into a back end API. And it's tokenized, right? And these are things people are like, what is tokenized? What is APIs? What is back end transactions and back end APIs? What is an API? A lot of people don't understand this, and this is what the problem is, right? So authentication and validation, right? So the backend validates the sender session token and verifies that they have significant funds either in the Cash App balance or via linked debit card. So authentication and validation, the backend validates the sender session token, meaning that that token is going to be verified. It's all worked off based off tokens. It's going to verify that that token has enough funds in it to be able to send money to this Cash App tag, right? So the internal ledger adjustment, right? So this is the third thing that goes on. So unlike legacy banking that requires hours to clear, Cash App operates on centralized proprietary ledger, right? So the backend performs a double entry database update. It instantly debits the sender's internal virtual wallet and credits the recipient's virtual wallet. So it um, operates on a centralized proprietary ledger. So everything is now on the ledger, right? So once the backend performs a double entry database update, it instantly debits the sender's internal virtual wallet of the amount that they're trying to send to the senders so they can receive the funds, right? So real-time notification. So the back end triggers a push notification. This is all technology based, and this is how people are sending money from Cash App to Cash Apps, Apple Pay, Chimes, Venmos, all these things that man has created. So real-time notification. So the back end triggers a push notification, and in an in-app event, the recipient updating their balance immediately. So it basically triggers a push notification once it is received, right? And then the settlement. The underlying funds are ultimately moved through the standard banking networks like ACH on the back end later in the day, but the end user experience remains um, instantaneous, right? So that's the whole process of how Cash Apps and Cash App to Cash Apps, Venmos and Venmo, Zales, all these different third-party companies are sending money and storing monies on these apps. And what do people do? They get the script. There are places on the dark web that sell source codes for this process right here. And once people get those source codes, they create these different sites like the Alpha Glitch Network that will perform different loads, different glitches for these different applications via Cash App, Venmo, Zelles, PayPal's, etc., etc. So, it's technology is the number one source of life, the number one source of living. Without technology, people won't be able to drive cars, stream on the internet, FaceTime, text messages. People won't be able to do anything. Wi-Fi, everything is ran and based off technology. Without technology, the world would be a third world country. So the Alpha Glitch Network has these source codes, has these for these different apps that will perform these loads, glitches, etc. So that the Alpha Glitch Network, and on there they have different, like they got different sources that you buy. Once you buy that, then you go to the different, and then you buy that, and then you know what I'm saying. So it's a lot of different methods out there. It's a lot of new things that's happening. It's a lot of new ways that people are generating a lot of money in today's world with these methods, with this new GPT, with this new technology, with these new things that's going on. And a lot of people are getting rich. And it's just all about being more safe, being more cautious, and being more aware of what's going on out there, because a lot of people lack knowledge. A lot of people lack the information that they need to succeed and become successful in life. A lot of people run off and work off and live life off the wrong information. And like I said, this is all educational purposes only, not telling anybody to do anything. A lot of people are interested in what's going on to be safe. A lot of people are interested in what's going on just to be interested and intrigued. And a lot of people want to do a lot of different things. I'm no puppet master. I can't control anybody in doing what they want to do. But at the end of the day, these things are real. These things are really happening, and it's just all about being more safe and being more aware and being more cautious of it. So, like I said, it's a billion YouTube channels out there, but y'all all decided to be here with me. So, like I said, I'll see you at the next method, the next lesson, the next live, the next video. Peace.